if you're like me and have emotions, then the finale of Season 2 of The Bad Batch was difficult to watch. And while the loss of Tech and Omega being ripped away from the closest thing to a family that she's ever had was traumatizing enough for this 35-year-old man-child, the music that the Kiners put forward for this episode eclipsed anything we've seen from this series so far. And the original thought was that this theme was entirely new, coming out of nowhere to haunt our dreams. But that's not actually the case, and today I'm going to show you how this music is not only derived from a theme that we're all very familiar with, but also how it perfectly and heartbreakingly encapsulated everything that happened to the Bad Batch in the Season 2 finale. And by the end of this video, I intend to show you just how brilliant and carefully planned this music was with everything you didn't even know you heard. Grab your Kleenexes and get ready for this special breakdown. This is Star Wars Music Analysis.
Do it.
While we hear hints of this new theme prior to the moment, it's when Tech falls that it unmistakably comes through. At that moment of complete devastation, the music is forever fused to the image of Tech plummeting out of sight. And the most immediately noticeable connection is that the music follows suit by falling as well, as the melodic line descends by steps from the 5th scale degree of C sharp minor, G sharp, stepwise to E before dropping a devastating perfect fifth down to A, only to bounce back up to F sharp. This technique of reflecting something non-musical with a musical gesture is what we call a rhetorical device and can serve to enhance our visual sensations when seeing something like a hero fall to their doom. But it doesn't simply fall or move through steps. Instead, as we shift back and forth between the C sharp minor tonic chord and the F sharp minor 4 chord, these notes shift at the perfect time to give the most devastation. They do this by moving on strong beats like 1 and 3 to notes that aren't part of the chord. We call these non-harmonic tones. So, as the G sharp steps down to F sharp on beat 3, a relatively strong beat in this 4 pattern, it creates a dissonance with the harmony around it before continuing down to the E, which is part of the chord. This is called an accented passing tone, as we move through the note all in steps and all in the same direction. And again, because Kiner puts that dissonant F sharp on the stronger beat 3, it hits us harder. For context, here's another arrangement of this cue, but with the first 3 notes shifted by a single beat. In this case, that motion to the dissonant F sharp barely phases us as it passes through effortlessly. Now, moving back to the same orchestration, but with the F sharp on beat 3, that tension and pain can really be felt and appreciated. Now, so far, these are all what I would call basic compositional devices, and most of the time a composer will create everything I've just touched on completely based off of their own tuition and without even thinking about what they're doing. But what I'm going to show you next is going to demonstrate very clear and conscious decision making to you. I mentioned that we begin with a couple steps before leaping by a perfect fifth. If we take each of these 2 occurrences as short, separate motifs, we can actually find the exact same motions in the original Bad Batch theme, just in the opposite direction. The Bad Batch theme rises by 2 steps before returning to the tonic and leaping by a perfect fifth. That perfect fifth, when ascending, is heroic. But now, as it falls, it becomes devastating. It's become the antithesis of the heroes, as this theme has become the antithesis of the Bad Batch and their downfall. The only positive that's given is that the next interval of a sixth in the music leaps up, again reflecting the next leap in the Bad Batch theme as well, leaping from tonic now to the 6th scale degree. Kiner further connects this music to the Bad Batch theme by even hiding the theme as a short motif in the horns. See if you can hear it in the original soundtrack during the episode here.
I can't stop it. The car's going too fast. The system's fried. I can't stop it.
And so even though this felt new, it really was the Bad Batch theme, losing direction and falling until it's unrecognizable. But if you're unconvinced so far, just hang around because it gets better and worse from here. After oscillating between the tonic and subdominant 4 chords several times, Kiner moves to a surprising F minor chord that immediately shocks our ears. This chord is completely outside of the key of C sharp minor and isn't even in a closely related key. But Kiner gets there effortlessly by enharmonically changing the spelling of the G sharp in the tonic chord to the A flat that we see acting as the third of the F minor chord. Beyond this common tone enharmonic modulation though, there's nothing to prepare us for this new tonality, and while this is effective dramatically at this point as the crew crashes through the building, its function goes far beyond this and gives Kiner a reference for what we're going to hear near the end of this episode. See, I don't think that it's any coincidence that later, as Hunter watches Hemlock escape with Omega, the theme returns, but beginning now on that exact same F minor triad. But while the chord has changed, the first note of the theme this time is identical. It's the A flat that had been respelled from the G sharp of earlier. That dramatic shift in the harmony that we heard only a few minutes into the episode perfectly links to this cue now. But with the notes staying the same while in a new key, things are destined to change around it. Instead of beginning with the major second like before, we begin now with a heart-wrenching half step as we are now moving from the third scale degree down to the tonic. And again, as the music steps down, the delay of its entrance to the second beat guarantees that the first step down to the G will occur on the relatively strong beat 3. Giving us another painful accented passing tone. The chord progression changes as well, now moving from the tonic to the major 6th before dropping to the minor 5 and then the major 7 chord. These last 2 chords are especially notable because it places us firmly in natural minor, which lacks a leading tone. The loss of that leading tone, with its sole purpose of resolving us to the tonic, also removes a strong sense of hope and direction in this moment as Hunter watches Omega leave and go out of reach. This time, the interval of the leap has changed as well and has become a 6th, but Kiner quickly corrects this in the second phrase as he, appropriately, sacrifices the accented passing tones and leaps only a 5th this time from F to B flat, restoring the direct reference to the Bad Batch theme. Now, if you're still unconvinced so far that this is a reference to the Bad Batch theme, here's where Kiner then shows his hand. As the Bad Batch ascend into space, the rhetorical devices return and the theme flips and begins on the tonic as it steps up twice, then returns to the tonic before leaping up a perfect 5th. While being another great reference to direction of movement in the show, it's also now giving us a direct reference to the Bad Batch theme. Listen again because Kiner has actually turned this into the Bad Batch theme without us even noticing. And it's in this realization that everything is all that more devastating. This is the Bad Batch theme after it's been torn apart, turned on its head, and put back together in a Frankenstein-type way. After it's fallen from grace, after all hope has been lost and left tattered and beaten, just like our continually battered group of heroes. This is film scoring at its finest. Everything I just explained doesn't actually matter in order to enjoy the show and to get dramatic emotions from this episode. This is powerful music on its own. In fact, it gives us chills and has been stuck in memories for weeks now. It's effective and serves the narrative well. However, the more we pull back layers of this music, the more we can discover, proving the depth of thought that was put into the music. This is, in my opinion, what sets composers like Kiner and Williams apart from all of the other composers that we've heard writing music for Star Wars media recently. But now I would absolutely love to know what you all think as well. Did you hear any of these motifs within this theme when you watched this episode? Did you notice the Bad Batch theme had come in at the end? Tell me in the comments below what you think, and consider checking out my Patreon page using the link in the description, where you can help support this channel for as little as $1 a month or download PDFs and MP3s of projects as I complete them, along with other perks at higher tiers. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to learn more about the music of a galaxy far, far away. As always, may the be with you.